when you think about demography, you think about numbers, and um, numbers don't lie, but I like to tell people that they do tell stories. So how are you looking at the numbers, and what are the stories they're telling you? And the first story you need to know from the numbers, and I'm going to share a little bit of them, is that the future is older. The future is not going to be new stuff. The future is older. And what I mean by that is we're going to have more older adults than we've ever had. By 2030, the population in America, 1 out of 5 people in every state will be 65 and older. In the year 2000, it was 11%. So now by 2030, it'll be 20%. And 9 states will be over 25%. 1 in 4 people walking around will be 65 and older. Never happened before. So, Mark, a question for you. Which of those dark states that have more than 25%, which one's going to be in the worst shape, or maybe the best shape? They're going to have the most people as a percentage of their population
Oh, the most people as a percentage of their population
that are over 65.
that are over 65. I would probably say it would either be I know Florida is like Trent is already at about 20%.
Oh, yeah.
I think Nebraska is pretty high, isn't it?
I don't remember exactly what the prediction is for Nebraska, but yeah, it's up there. But no, number one is Maine.
Maine. Okay, yeah, that's
Maine
right.
is going to be like 35% over 65.
Maine and Vermont, I know, are very high
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
percentages.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the boomers are the future. And what I mean by that is, despite their efforts, boomers have reached this stage of life. They're now 60 to 78 years old this year, which means they're older adults. Now, they may not act like it, and they certainly don't act like the last generation of older adults did at this stage of life. I remember my dad in his 50s, the only time he ever wore sneakers was when he was in a gym.
Hmm,
And
that's interesting.
I'm 64, and I'm out playing pickleball in my sneakers all the time, and with a bunch of people in their 70s playing pickleball. And it's different. We're at a different stage with a different audience, and they're wired differently. And then the other kind of related to the boomers, you've heard this number. I know you've heard this number
Yeah.
10,000 times. Maybe your listeners haven't, but starting in 2011, the first boomers started turning 65. So someone did the math and said, okay, there's 3.65 million boomers turning 65. So that means every day, 10,000 boomers are turning 65. And it's a fun number to share, and it's been shared up 10,000 times if
Yeah.
you're in the senior living space. But there's a problem with it. The problem is it makes it sound like it's a one-time event, but it isn't a one-time event. It's our reality for the next 30 plus years. And what I mean by that is the Census Bureau has projections based on births, deaths, and immigration. And for the next 30 years, we're going to have more than 3.65 million people turning 65 every year. You can go to the Census Bureau, download the chart, and
Hmm.
it's my chart here,
Yeah.
but no year is it less than 3.6, in fact, 6.8 anyway. The one that jumped out at me was like, apparently in 2056, we're going to have 4,800,000 people turning 65. That's 13,000 a day.
Yeah.
And the point here is that this talk about, gosh, boomers are going to, or the silver tsunami, this wave is coming of boomers. And once they're done, well, we're done. No, we're not. There
Yeah.
is no done. We're going to have a steady stream of older adults every year from now forever, basically.
Forever.
So, I like to say we're producing and retaining more older adults than ever imagined.
We just did, we actually just recorded some content on this, and in the 80 plus population alone, our segment in the home care segment is going to grow by 50% over the next 10 years. And when we talk to brokers and whatnot that are in our business looking for transitional executives, I can't think of another industry where you can guarantee that your market segment is going to grow by 50% over the next 10 years. It's not happening with oil changes. It's not happening with restaurants necessarily.